right, guys, super excited. Happy Tuesday. And yes, I'm yet another with my next guest on the Ravit Show today is Jerome Wittersheim. He will be talking about a lot about data analytics, ETL processes, Power BI, and much more. And obviously, a little about Jerome. He's the managing director at Hexagon Data Services, which is a Microsoft Silver partner. He's an experienced senior leader and data specialist. So all the questions around data analytics, data modeling, please go ahead and ask. This is your time, and obviously we'll be talking a lot about ETL processes in Azure, also Power BI. So let's do this. And before calling in Jerome, obviously I would want to let folks know that you have a chance to win 2 annual subscriptions of 365 Data Science by just typing in the hashtag 365 Data Science in the comment, and we'll choose the winner via raffle by end of the show. So without any further delay, let's have Jerome on air.
Hello.
Hey Jerome, welcome to the Ravit Show.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks.
Awesome. So Jerome, I was just letting people know about the giveaway. Obviously, we are giving away 365 Data Science annual subscriptions. So what people just need to do is type in hashtag 365 Data Science, and this is what they need to type in to enter the raffle. So looking forward to obviously the winners. Hashtag data science, hashtag 365 Data Science is something that they need to type. All right, without any further.
Like an amazing prize.
Oh yeah, annual subscription. So yeah, fantastic. Okay, Jerome. To just begin the obviously, let's have the fire chat, and can you tell us something more about yourself?
Sure. Yeah. So obviously, my name is Jerome. I'm the MD at Hexagon Data Services, which is a company I started about 2.5 years ago now. Before that, I worked in data. I've spent most of my career working in the further education system in the United Kingdom. Started as a data analyst in the early 2000s. So I've been doing this a long time now, and became an information service director, managing teams of 30, 40 people. And obviously now run my own business, which is very exciting.
Fantastic. Oh yes, definitely, because I can only imagine. So Jerome, to just ask, since obviously you have so many years of experience in data, what has actually changed from back then to now, and how have you seen data evolving?
Yeah, that's a great question. Lots has changed. I think cloud computing has been a big game changer. Platforms like Azure, particularly, which I'm very familiar with, or AWS, have really made a massive difference to how you access and manipulate data. Obviously, tools like you mentioned Power BI before. Tools like Power BI have also helped present data in a much more user-friendly way, giving people dashboards that are more easy to interpret and understand. So dashboarding tools and cloud computing, to me, are 2 of the big changes that happened in the last 10 years or so.
Wow, fantastic. And I can only imagine the dashboard you might have seen years back, and today you can play around, you can do there are so many new features that obviously have come in. So obviously, to talk about back then to now, about obviously your business and about Hexagon Data Services, which is your company, what was the motivation behind it to get into this field? Was it just the boom that we are seeing, or was it something very different?
I think it was something that I'd been thinking about for a long time before I actually started. So I planned it in my head. But I mean, there's a few reasons, obviously. One of which is because I can now do things like this. I can use my time and focus my energy on the things that I'm interested in. I can meet new people, share my knowledge and experience, which is great.
Exactly.
So that played a key part in my thinking process. Obviously, running your own company means that you have a different working pattern as well. I was going to say it is more flexible in
Exactly.
some ways, and I suppose at the back of my mind, what I'm hoping to get out of this business in the long term is something I can possibly leave to my children, and if they want to join me when they're older and they don't date as much as me, that'd be great.
Fair enough. I think that is something which is long term and
Yes.
which is very true and very good. So thanks for sharing that, Jerome. Okay, so we have a few folks who have joined in, and
Hello, everybody.
obviously, Ugol is here. He says
Hello. Hi.
Jerome in the building. So fantastic. And obviously Abdul is here. I know Abdul had some questions back then. So feel
Yes.
free
Yes.
to ask questions. People, obviously we will be talking about data analytics, ETL, and obviously Power BI. So feel free to ask any questions. Also, Jerome, I wanted to know which are the three things one needs to actually keep in mind before getting into data science business, because obviously it's not a decision you might have taken overnight.
No.
So what was that that
Yeah.
thing which actually changed it, and what are the things that you need to keep in mind?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's not a decision you make overnight. You need to plan it carefully,
Exactly.
and just because you're good at what you do, just because you're a good data analyst or a good data scientist, good data engineer, doesn't mean that you'll be able to successfully run a big business unless you've done your homework beforehand. But if there's three things I would pinpoint, it would probably be be aware of how you're going to finance your business and what your cash flow is going to look like, because most businesses actually fail because
Right.
of cash flow issues. So make sure you've got that under control and well thought through before you start. Do spend time on sales and marketing activities, because if you don't generate enough leads early in the life of your business, then it is likely that you will run out of work. So do spend some time on sales and marketing. And if it's not something you're comfortable with, get some help. There's plenty of people around who can provide advice and guidance. And then the last point, I guess, is be prepared to change your plans. You have to be quick on your feet. You have to adapt constantly. I mean, obviously, the COVID is a good example of what can happen, which is completely out of your control. So you've got to be ready to adapt. It is very likely that things won't go the way you imagined, and that certainly happened with me. And actually, what you will probably find in the long term is that all those incremental changes have been for the best. So, if you want to start your own business and you're passionate about what you do, have a good plan in place, think it through, and go ahead. That's my advice.
Yeah, exactly. It's not only just about data analysis, data science, but it's also about the business here, where you need
Yes,
to
absolutely.
be everyone. You need to be CEO of your own. So, which completely makes sense, Jerome. We have a few questions, Jerome. Before I jumping on to another question, obviously, I would like to take a question from Howell. So, Howell is asking, how do you see the future of data science, especially in India, because it is totally new nowadays in India? Not very new, but yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, data science obviously is a massive topic at the moment. Again, just going back to what I said before about platforms like Azure and AWS playing a key role in how people use data, and I think they become more and more important in the way data science projects are run. So for example, if you use Azure, you will see that there is within the Azure platform an ML studio which has got fantastic data science resources, and for beginners, you also have tools that give you a point and click approach. So those platforms are starting to do some of the thinking for you, if you like, and I think that's probably a trend that will continue to develop in the years to come.
Oh yes, definitely. That's a wise advice and a very futuristic view, and it does make sense, Jerome. Also, there was an interesting question from Jonathan Rappert. Do you see an end to dashboards with more automated tools that can give direct insights with by typing in single sentences? Where do you see dashboards in future?
Well, yeah, that was a great question, Jonathan. Yes, absolutely. I think business intelligence tools will become more intelligent. I don't think dashboards will disappear overnight. I think they've still got a long future in front of them. And actually, tools like Power BI allow you to integrate the type of insights
Right.
that you just described here. So I think they become part of a bigger, wider BI infrastructure.
Yeah, it does make sense. So, nice one. Also, just jumping one question back, we and obviously about your business. So, where do you see Hexagon Data Services in the next 3 years? Where do you see it moving, and how does it change for
Yeah.
you?
So as I said before, my background is data analytics. So SQL, dashboards, Azure, SSIS back in the day. I've become personally more and more interested in data science. It's something I'm working hard on at the moment, getting up to speed with all the technologies and the processes.
Right.
So that's I think the company will kind of follow my lead and move more into the data science space, which is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, fantastic. So, more in depth of data science is something that
Mm.
your company will get into, and which is
Yeah,
fantastic
yes,
news.
that's the plan.
Okay, amazing. So, also there was a question from Abdul, and obviously Abdul had this question put in the chat long back.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
So,
Again, that's a great question. So, just for people who aren't aware of what a star schema is,
yeah,
star schemas are used in what we call dimensional data modeling, where you've got effectively two types of table which are connected to each other. So, on one side, you've got dimensional tables which contain all the attributes of your object or event. So, for example, if you've got a dimension that describes your product, then that table will contain the things that you use to describe the product, such as its color, size, if that's relevant. And then you have fact table, which allow you to count things. So sales, for example, would be sales amounts, and income would be available in your fact table. And fact table are made of your star schema connected to dimension tables. The reason many-to-many cardinality is not recommended is because that can have a significant impact on the performance of your analytics engine. Certainly, if you use Power BI, it isn't recommended as an approach because of potential performance issue. Power BI now actually allows you to create many-to-many relationships between tables. It is something you can do. You do get a warning message, but you can do it. And the second reason is because when you take that approach, you may end up, and that is very likely going to be the case, you may end up with ambiguous data, which could be ultimately confusing to your end users. And if your end users see numbers that don't add up, then they will automatically distrust the report. So it is better to keep away from that type of relationship if you can.
Okay, that's fantastic. And a fantastic answer to work with. So, since we're talking about obviously data modeling, I had this question: why is data modeling so important for data analysts?
Yeah, I mean, again, data modeling it is something that, as a data analyst, completely changed the way I approached my job. It is quite transformational. First of all, when you create a centralized data model to run your analytics off, then what you immediately achieve is a massive reduction in repetitive tasks. You don't have to recreate queries, views, reports. All your data is processed, and you don't need to worry about rewriting the same piece of code twice. You also, with a data model inside a data warehouse, you also have one version of the truth. So there's no risk of two reports picturing different pictures. Your data is stored consistently, and it allows you to integrate between a wide range of systems, which you might not necessarily be able to do otherwise. And the final point very quickly is that a good data model also allows you to keep a history of your data if that's important. And in many cases, that can be very important.
Wow, totally does make sense why data modeling is so important for the analysts. And we had Gus, obviously, who agrees that to your point, to your answer, where you said the dashboards aren't going anywhere any soon, and they'll just be more dynamic.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So also, there's a question from LinkedIn user. I don't know who it is. Given the applications or say transaction processings are moving cloud-based and analytics is required more real-time, should data modeling be considered at these applications to support analytics? Nice question.
Well, that's I mean, that is a fine balance. Obviously, the trade-off is that normally it does take time to process large amounts of data and provide a platform that gives you the analytics capabilities that you require. And often you will find that data warehouses are updated overnight when people aren't using transactional system. But as computing resources are becoming more widely available through cloud systems, then yeah, I think there will be a shift to more real-time analytics within applications. I think that's definitely starting to appear. Yes.
Wow, fantastic. I think that's a great answer. It's more of a balance that you said. And also, just a reminder to all the audience who've just joined in, we are giving away 2 annual subscriptions of 365 Data Science today. You just need to type hashtag 365 Data Science in the chat, and we'll do a raffle where we'll choose 2 winners, and they'll be winning the annual subscription. So, to obviously the next question I had was more around the data modeling itself. Since we are talking a lot about data here, can you tell us the most common errors one can potentially face in data modeling that you have actually seen?
Yes. Yeah. You've got to remember when you write a data model, you might have great analytical skills and you might want to showcase what you can do, But at the end of the day, what will be important is what your business users need and what will create value for your business. So to me, the critical thing about data analytics and data modeling is to really understand the business you're working in or you're supporting, and to talk to people, be curious, get involved in things outside of data analytics to really get a feel for what could make a big difference to your organization. And then once you understand those key drivers that will really add value, focus on those, and don't try to do too much at once, because that can often be the temptation. You've got a lot of data available to you. You want to really show what you can do and use all the data that is available to you. But often it's better to start small and grow your data model as new needs become apparent. So just think and plan before you actually start coding. And the other thing I would add is, and that's to paraphrase Ralph Kimball, who is one of the fathers of dimensional modeling, stay true to the grain. So make sure that the data you import in your data model is at the right level of granularity, and hopefully that should keep you on the safe side.
Wow, that was actually a fantastic answer, because it does focus on something, not only your your skills, but also your business and your outfacing, your output, the people that you are serving. And Courier definitely says the same thing: meeting business needs using data. That is the value from data professionals.
Yeah.
So fantastic answer. So moving on, obviously I wanted, since we will be talking a lot around ETL today, I wanted to know, can you actually tell us how is ETL different in Azure, like just being a layman here?
Yeah. So obviously there's so many ways you can orchestrate ETL pipelines. For a long time, I've been using SQL Server Integration Services, which was a relatively good tool. Azure has taken that kind of graphical ETL interface to the next level with Azure Data Factory, and because Azure Data Factory is part of the Azure framework, it allows you to really easily connect to all your data sources within your Microsoft environment. So that can range from your Azure Data Lake to your SQL databases in Azure, as well as many connectors to external data sources. So within Azure Data Factory, for example, you can connect to Amazon resources as well, things like Redshift and S3 storage areas. So it really gives you that those additional capabilities. What I do like about Azure Data Factory as well is that it helps you keep all your connectors, your pipelines, your data flows, your data sets really well organized. It is a very nice interface, and the data flows within Azure Data Factory actually run on Spark clusters, so they are extremely fast. And the features that you get within the environment allow you to do exactly what you need to do.
Exactly. I think there was obviously a similar question from Abdul, and it is answered now. Thanks, Abdul, for that question. So also, moving back to your business, wanted to know more about what are the initial challenges that you face starting Hexagon Data Services, and how did you overcome them?
I mean, going back to what I said before about spending time on your sales and marketing, getting yourself known. I think initially I tried to get everything to be too perfect in a way. I wanted everything to be in place. I wanted all my leaflets and websites and so on in place. And in hindsight, I probably should have been focusing more on marketing and sales first, and then making sure that I had all the other bits in place. But most data people are quite perfectionists, so they probably understand where I'm coming from here. So I would say don't spend too much time trying to get things perfect, because it's not worth it. It can be a roller coaster. Obviously, 1 month it can be completely different to the next, and you don't get the security you have when you've got a full-time job. But that's also what makes it interesting, I guess. So sometimes you might be tempted to rely on other people's experience or support, but what you really need to do is own it and just go for it, because at the end of the day is your business. It's driven by your passion, so you need to take full ownership.
Okay, that's fantastic. And also, there was an interesting question from. I'm just having a look. Okay, Thawal Rana. So, as we know, maintaining a deployed model is a little bit difficult. Obviously, a bit tough sometimes. So, is there any way suggestions to overcome for beginners?
Yeah, I mean, maintaining a model is difficult, and you can run into issues. Platforms like Azure give you the ability to monitor the performance of your models and pinpoint potential problems. So you've got various debug modes which you can use. You can combine also your ETL pipelines, for example, in Azure with the Logic App system, which allows you to create triggers so you can be alerted if there are issues, and that makes it then easier to ensure problems are picked up sooner rather than later.
Awesome. So I think that definitely answers David's question. Nice question, David. Also, I wanted to ask, after ETL, what have you actually seen a common problem with clients that they have reached out to you that, okay, now ETL is being done. Now, what's the next problem that you commonly face, that the clients face?
The biggest problem clients face, and it's something they're not aware of, I guess, in a way, is their lack of understanding of what cloud infrastructures can actually do for them, because we've been talking about cloud computing for a long time, but people don't really understand what it means. So I think as data professionals, we have almost a duty to explain to non-data, non-technical people in very simple terms what cloud computing can do for them. So I think that building that data literacy, data understanding, data culture is absolutely fundamental.
Yeah, I get it completely. I can only imagine once it's done, and obviously the urge of you telling that, okay, why is it important for you guys? So data literacy kind of kicks in that time. It can be even after ETL. So it does really make sense. Okay, we had an interesting question from Subhanshu Yadav. Yeah, I'm from healthcare sector, having master's pharmacy, but I want to join healthcare data analytics. So is degree mandatory, or I can get it in acquiring knowledge and experiences with some project? What do you think, Jerome?
I don't think a degree is mandatory anymore. I think there's a lot of resources out there that will allow you to get the knowledge and experience. And the fact that you're here today on the show proves that you're keen to learn. So I would continue learning from people like Ravit and getting hold of resources online to learn. And actually, Microsoft do have a fantastic learning platform with loads of free resources. So if you are interested in platforms like Azure or Power BI, definitely check that out. Go through the learning modules, and if you feel comfortable, you can then take the exam at the end of it and become certified, which may mean more to an employer than a degree.
Wow, this is fantastic. Yeah, it's been a ongoing debate always where people are some people are obviously more inclined towards the university degree, but now obviously it is more trending where there are so many resources out there. There are so many courses that you don't need to worry about, and I think in the real world it's more about the projects, the live projects that you've done, and how much you have practically worked. So it does make sense, Jerome. Also, there was a follow-up question from Kishan Kalaria about in Azure storage is free, but if you want to do any data manipulation using SQL query, then you'll have to pay for it.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Storage is free up to a point.
Yeah.
If you exceed the free limits, then it becomes it will start costing you as well. But I have to say for production workloads, the cost of running resources within the Azure environment isn't prohibitive, and actually it is quite transparent. If you go on the Azure website, you will be able to see their costing for all the resources available to you.
Okay, that's fantastic. So that is chargeable, but after a while. Also talking about on the analyst front, I wanted to know what are the most important skill sets you actually think that an analyst should have, and those are important there.
Yeah. I mean, there's as a data analyst, there's a number of skills you need to master. I think SQL is one of them. It would be at the top of my list certainly, because although there are tools like Data Factory which don't necessarily require you to have a great understanding of SQL, I think that to take the time to learn SQL if you haven't already, because that will give you a really good starting point. I'm keep repeating myself here, but understanding the business is as important as understanding the actual technical side of things. And don't be scared to ask questions. Be curious. Try to get involved in things that aren't necessarily data related, and keep learning, because technology is changing all the time, and it is really important to stay on top of those changes. So keep learning. As I said before, when I answered one of the previous questions, get certified if you can. Whilst you learn, you may as well gain a certification. That could be for a Microsoft product, but other platforms offer certification pathways as well. So do make sure that you get certified.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Also, there was a question from an interview user. Not sure it's covered. When it comes to learning SQL, do we learn SQL, PostgreSQL, or MySQL? Interesting.
It doesn't really matter, because SQL is a fairly standard language that will mostly work across different platforms. So if you know the basics of the SQL language, you will be able to use SQL Server Management Studio, and you will be able to use MySQL. Some functions will be slightly different depending on which database management system you use, but I don't think it is important. Pick one and go for it, and then you'll probably be able to work with most other SQL platforms.
Yeah, I think it's more about the learning. It's just one thing at a time, and then, but definitely all of them kind of helps. So there was before I asked my question, I had this interesting question from Bharat. How important is domain knowledge for data analytics if I want to work as an entry level data analyst for a banking or healthcare company?
Good question. So some companies will have entry-level schemes that don't necessarily require any domain knowledge, and you learn those domain-specific skills when you join the company. What I would say though is that you should still do your homework and understand how the industry you're interested in works, who are the key players, what are their key drivers, and again, if you understand what drives those businesses, what adds value to the people who run those companies, then you get a much better chance of landing a job.
Right, it does make sense. Also, since we're talking a lot about data, I wanted to know which is your favorite business intelligence. Maybe I know it, but still, which is your favorite business intelligence tool?
Yeah, well, obviously it is Power BI, with the company being Microsoft, a silver Microsoft partner. That's our default, if you like, business intelligence tool. We use AWS as well occasionally, but primarily it is Power BI. Yeah.
And why not? If just this is just out of curiosity, obviously, and why not Tableau or any other tool when you Power BI?
Yeah, I don't have anything against other platforms. I guess it's just because in my career, most of the companies and projects I was involved with were based on the Microsoft stacks, using SQL Server, integration services, and analysis services, and so on. It was quite a natural progression, if you like, for us to use Power BI. The other factor, I guess, that contributed to the decision in the early days when Power BI was released is that dashboarding suddenly become very much accessible. You could sign up to Power BI, get a free license, and even if you had to pay for the pro license, that has always been relatively cheap, whereas other platforms tended to be much more expensive, certainly a few years ago.
Okay, that's fantastic. So how long it's been that you've been using Power BI now?
I've been using Power BI a while now. Pretty much as soon as it came out, we were so excited that we started using it when it was released. So it's probably 5-6 years ago.
Wow, this is fantastic. Also, there's a question from Jonathan Packer. Do you do calculations in server end or use DAX to create additional measures? What ratios would you use, and what are the performance gains?
Yeah. So in terms of calculations, now what I personally like to do is do all the data modeling outside of Power BI. So I would normally use Azure to pull the data together in a nice, neat way. But in terms of running calculations, then that's when I would use DAX, because that will increase the performance of your dashboards.
Right.
Definitely.
Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, so before we move on, I had a question obviously about Hexagon Data. I wanted to let people, if you can actually give a quick overview. But before that, I would just want to give a quick reminder, since in next 7 to 8 minutes, we will announce the winner for the annual subscription of 365 Data Science. If you haven't got in, please do feel free to chat, put in chat 365 data science, hashtag 365 data science, and join the raffle. So, okay, Jerome, wanted to know more about Hexagon Data. Obviously, I have the website here. Can you tell us more about it and talk about a little about the services that? So this is the website.
Yeah. So we, as a company, offer a range of services. So we do obviously a lot of work in the data analytics space. We help companies move to the cloud. We help them build
Yeah.
data warehouses, integrated data models, and we help them produce fantastic dashboards. So that's our core business. Because I've been doing this for so long, we also offer a range of peripheral services, if you like. And obviously, data management is absolutely key because without good data, you can't
Right.
drive meaningful analytics. So we also help companies make sure they have the right data management structure in place, from data governance to master data management. And we provide data audits to make sure that those processes are in place and that they're being followed. And we also engage with senior stakeholders to make sure that the people within the organizations we work with have a good understanding of data. So this is going back to the point I made about the importance of data literacy and having a good data culture within the organization that supports the development of great data analytics.
Okay, that's fantastic. Also, just a quick curious question. Obviously, I've seen you guys are like Hexagon Data Services is the Silver Microsoft partner. So, what is the Silver partnership look like? How do you get that tag?
So you get it through certification. So you have to have a number of employees within your organization to have achieved the right certifications.
Okay.
Some certifications allow you to get onto the partnership program straight away. Others require you to also have a number of customers who are willing to testify that they've worked with you and that you've provided a good level of service. So it is definitely something worth pursuing.
Yeah, definitely. Also, before we announce the winners, there's one question that I would definitely want to pick from the audience, from Paul Vikas. Hello, Jerome. We can see more people now started learning specialized data science courses. Is supply more than demand in the market, or still there is huge demand? So it is more on the data science bit.
Yeah, no, you're right. If you use LinkedIn, you will see that many people offer their courses, their services.
Exactly.
It is difficult to pick, I guess, but if you follow people like Ravit or Kate or Tom or Avery Smith, and just uh, check the resources those really well established and trusted people recommend, then you can't really go wrong.
Okay, that's fantastic. So keep following us and
Yeah,
definitely keep following Jerome because he always shares some amazing insights about data analytics, about data.
thank
So
you.
don't forget to follow. All right, it's time to actually announce the winner for today. So let's have the raffle screen here. Just a second. All right. Yeah, we have 23 entries already, which is fantastic. So, without any further ado, let's announce those two winners. Here we go. First winner is, let's see who it is. Jignesh Kanani.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Well
It's
done.
fantastic. Yeah, well done. one last. Okay, we have now 24 entries, and one last time. Here we go. Kate is here. I could see Kate as well.
Oh yes, hello.
Hey Kate. Yash Bhadja. Congratulations,
Excellent.
Yash. Yeah, I'll reach out to you guys and definitely give you the 365 data science annual subscription. Congratulations once again. And yes, it was fantastic talking to you, Jerome.
It's been great to be on the show. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. Just one last thing. Obviously, if folks want to reach out, which is the
Yeah.
best place to?
Definitely LinkedIn. Find me on LinkedIn. Send me a connection request. I will accept it, and let's have a chat.
Okay, fantastic. Nice. Thank you everyone for joining in. Thank you, Jerome,
Thank
and
you.
have
Thanks
a nice
everybody.
Tuesday. Bye bye.
Bye.
Take